Welcome to the Fab Four Travel Talk podcast with Kristy, Gina, Eric, and Kyle. Now, sit back and relax. Let's chat about some magical destinations.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Fab Four Travel Talk. I'm Kristy, and I am your host this evening. And with me tonight, I have Eric.
Hello.
And that's it. Just Eric.
Just us.
Kyle and Gina are actually dining at Les Celliers in Epcot as we speak. So
Ooh la la.
they're not here. I bet they're eating something glorious, though.
Steak.
Yeah, that I wouldn't eat.
Steak.
I know, but
you eat steak.
I know, but they probably that menu is like got steak, but it has steak with lots of frou-frou.
Only if you don't order it without the frou-frou.
Anyway, they eat lots of frou-frou stuff. So I have been home for about 24 hours from my 11-night Walt Disney World adventure, and I'm awake, which is good.
Yep.
And I got to spend some time with Gina and Kyle and their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Briefly, we didn't have much time together because they came in on Friday and I left on Saturday. But we were able to do some fun stuff. I'm going to wait, though. We're not going to talk about that stuff today.
Okay.
Because we'll talk about that with them so I can tell you about our night at the trailer park.
Oh, that's right. You had all kinds of fun.
Oh, my God. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see lots of pictures and stories and videos even. In fact, you thought I was drunk.
I didn't necessarily think you were drunk. I was asking if you were drinking. That was all.
No.
You were a little overly excited for lights.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Put a pin in that. We'll come back. But I was there for Disney's Earmarked Owners Summit was the bulk of the reason that I was there. But I started the trip with my dad and my sister. It was like a getaway for the three of us. And that was a lot of fun. We stayed at the Wilderness Lodge. But in 4 days, we did 9 rides. That's it.
Not a lot.
Not a lot at all. We got sucked into a DVC presentation because they offered us a $75 gift card to go and listen to their spiel. And my dad and my sister were all about that. So we spent several hours, because they tell you it's only going to be an hour.
Yep.
It's not true.
It wasn't only an hour?
It was a long time. And then my dad...
How long did it end up being?
It was like closer to 3.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I would not have been happy about that.
No, but I think a lot of it, honestly, was my dad likes to ask questions to trip people up. And that's part of what was taking so long.
To trip people up?
Yeah, like he wanted to understand something, and he was just asking all kinds of what I consider kind of random questions. But they were excited because at the end they gave us free ice cream. So, whatever.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
3 hours for an ice cream. No.
I know. I was like, I would have bought you one. But anyway.
But you got to do some really cool stuff in addition to that, because you got to stay at the brand new hotel that just opened.
I did. So we spent 5 nights at Wilderness Lodge, which is my favorite resort, or it was my favorite resort.
No, not buying it. Not buying that changed.
So Riviera, we moved over there, and we had 3 nights there. And actually, my family, my dad and my sister had gone home, and our guru Jen Campbell and Jen Campbell and Leah, who you all remember from the
previous podcasts
last week and before, they were with me for the rest of the journey, and we had a 1-bedroom villa at Disney's brand new Riviera resort. And we checked in on opening morning. It was an absolute zoo with media people there, and
I hadn't even thought of every blogger in the world.
Every blogger in the world was there. And then all of these travel agency owners for the Earmark Summit were checking in as well.
Yeah.
So it was crazy busy, but I'll tell you, and I know I've talked about it in the podcast too, that I wasn't ready to like this resort. I felt like the way it looked was just kind of a
Yeah, you and I both, from like the pictures and stuff, kind of felt like it had a weird feel to it. Like, it didn't seem like something we were going to enjoy.
Yeah. But I absolutely loved it. Now, I don't know that it's replaced the Wilderness Lodge for real.
Right.
But it is definitely number 2. Like, definitely number 2.
Even better than the last one we stayed at, which was the
Grandestino?
Grandestino Tower.
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Because we both really like that too.
Yeah, and Grandestino is definitely still going to be my favorite moderate, I think.
Okay.
But Riviera is definitely better than that. And actually, after we left Riviera, we went to the beach club for 2 nights. And honest to God, I've loved the beach club for years. I love the location where you just walk to Epcot, take a boat, or if you're really industrious and you want to walk to Hollywood Studios, you can.
You can.
I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And I love the beach club, but it felt like slumming it. Like moving from Riviera.
Which is pretty crazy.
It is, because
Yeah.
it's one of the, it's a deluxe property and it's gorgeous and whatever, but literally we were like moving over there and I'm like,
Do I have to?
Okay. So, but the Riviera is been built to reminiscent of the French Riviera for obvious things. And oh my God, my dog is so cute. I missed him so much while I was gone. And Bugsy has his own Instagram channel. If anybody's interested, Bugsy_the_rescue_pup. Bugsy the Rescue
That's
Pup.
a really long name.
It is.
Somebody
But you could find him.
Somebody didn't think of the marketing on that one.
Anyway,
Bugs. Yeah.
they might
Nobody was
digress.
marketing on that one.
So we went over there, and the Disney touches are numerous, even though it doesn't scream Disney.
Yeah.
So, for example, in the hallways, there are black and white framed photographs of Walt and Lily's adventures in Europe.
Which is cool. That's not something that would have occurred to me that they would do that.
No.
And then as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, that's really neat.
And they were plentiful, so much so that I don't think I saw even half of them.
Wow.
Granted, I was in seminars, 10, 11, 12 hours a day, depending on the day. But they were really cool and very interesting. And then throughout the downstairs area on the way to the quick service dining location, which is Primo Patio, is what it's called. There were Disney movie posters, but in French.
That's cool.
So they had like Finding Nemo in French. They had Tangled. All kinds of them just lining the hallways as you're walking towards there.
Yeah, so that's another nice touch. They're just kind of rounding it all out.
Yeah, it was like, and it was very classy.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that the Grand Floridian feels a little stuffy with their classiness?
Sometimes, yeah.
Right? With that Victorian feel.
Mm-hmm.
It was none of that at Riviera. It felt really homey, but very nice. I mean, it's definitely an upscale resort. Don't get me wrong. It's not like Pop Century, and it's not rustic. It's French Riviera, even though I've never been there.
So where's that falling on the scale, money wise? Is that like their most expensive now, or is it?
It's up there.
Yeah.
So I think depending on the season, right now there is a discount going on that makes it's a discount unique for Riviera. So it makes it a little bit less expensive, but it's right in line with the Polynesian, as far as being a real the high end resort.
Which, it's a deluxe resort, so you kind of expect that.
It is, and it's right on the Skyliner. And let me tell you, so Jen and Leah one night were at Hollywood Studios, and it was getting ready to close, or it was closing. They stayed for Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam, and then walked out with the masses of people. They walked over to the Skyliner, got on the Skyliner, and came back to the resort. From the time they left, I forget the name of the courtyard at Hollywood Studios, or in front of the Chinese theater. There's a name for it. But they were standing there watching Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam. Between that spot and our hotel room at the Riviera, 21 minutes.
Wow.
Including the whole ride.
And that was after Jingle Band.
Yes.
So when
it ended,
everybody's leaving the park at that point.
everybody was leaving.
Wow.
And they said when they walked up to the Skyliner, the line looked like really busy.
Mm-hmm.
But it just kept moving, and they were off. 21 minutes between basically door to door.
Door to door.
At the busiest time.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that kind of time, you probably wouldn't even be on a bus, I bet.
No, because you'd be standing there waiting for a bus still.
Yep.
And then think about it, you're getting on a bus and you're standing, because it's that time of night, you never really luck out enough to get a seat. And there's no standing allowed on the Skyliner.
That's right. So they only put what they can sit on it, right?
They could put 8 to 10 people max in the Skyliner. Now, similarly, I was over at Epcot, and I watched Epcot Forever, their little fireworks thing, which is really cute. And it'll be gone by the time we come back because there'll be a new thing coming. But I walked out the International Gateway after it was over. Quite a few people were on their way out, but it wasn't a mass exodus. And I walked over to the Skyliner, got on the Skyliner, got back to the room, and it was under 10 minutes. And that's a
great.
Straight shot.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And by the way, I knew I was going to like the Skyliner. Or I guess I thought I was going to like the Skyliner.
Yep.
But I loved the Skyliner. It's peaceful. It's quiet up there. And it almost felt to me like meditative. Like while you're up there. Just because you can watch the other cars coming. And it was so quiet. Now, once I got stuck in there with obnoxious parents. And I say that because children rarely bother me. It's the parents that bother me. Once. But otherwise, we were in there pretty much alone. You know, the night that I went by myself from Epcot over there, there were 2 other adults and a mom and a son and me. And that was it.
So are they actually asking, like, you know, what's your group? And are they just taking groups and putting them on? Or are they trying to jam a bunch of groups together? Because you just said, for the most part, you rode alone. So
yeah, well, Leah and Jen and I.
Are they splitting up so that you don't have to ride with somebody else if they don't have to?
Yeah, so when we were...
it's not like they're trying to pack it to capacity every time.
At all, not at all.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a time that I was completely alone. And it was like a middle of the day kind of a scenario. And so that I was all by myself because I walked up and there were 3 or 4 people behind me and they just I said, I'm a party of 1. And he's like, okay, you get in that one right there. Yeah. And then it moved and I was off.
So does it actually stop when you go to get on it?
No, it keeps going.
It keeps going.
Yeah.
So how are they loading people into it? Especially, you know, someone like you who, you know, admittedly yourself is not overly adept at, you know, walking and chewing gum at the same time.
I was fine.
You know, and it's slow. It has to slow down.
It's not like it's whipping through that area. Okay. But basically, what you're standing here, and the cast members here, and they're asking about your party.
Yep.
And then as the Skyliner comes like around, they send you so that as you're walking up to it, it's got to you almost.
Yep.
You step on. People step on, and then it takes off.
Yeah, so it's all in the timing of just how to get on it.
Yeah, and there was an older couple with me on one ride, and they had a little bit of trouble getting off.
Yeah.
And they told them as they got off, and I got off behind them, the cast member suggested that they use the accessible one next time, so they could have a little extra time. They were fine, but I think they were worried that this elderly couple, not elderly really, but they needed a little more time. And so that option is always there. That line was relatively short to non-existent. And those units are separated from the main line while you load, and then they push them back on the line.
So that does actually come off the line itself, and it stops, and they let people on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is good, because, I mean, if you have wheelchairs or whatever,
wheelchairs
you couldn't do it, like, as it's moving. So.
Right. They do let you keep as long as your stroller is a regular size stroller, they don't make you close it out. So they were letting people roll right onto it with the kiddos.
But if you get one of those double wides,
double wides, you have to close it out. Yep. So that was really cool. It was smooth. When Jen and I were riding on our last morning, we took we were at Beach Club. We walked over to International Gateway at Epcot and took the Skyliner over to Caribbean Beach because she needed to drop something off for a client over there. And while we did that, it stopped once. And we were both looking at each other. All of a sudden, we're like, what if we get stuck on here and miss our flights? Like, we had hours and hours.
Right. But you
and
never know.
It was stopped for less than a minute. Like, it was just one of those, like, very brief stops, but we had all those thoughts in our heads.
Right.
Like,
For that minute. Are we going to have to break into the water bottles?
Right, exactly. Jen did say, like, oh, where's that emergency pack? And before we could even, like, locate it,
right,
it was moving again. So that was fine. But it was really cool. I mean, and honestly, the ability to be on the Skyliner, which they don't advertise Beach Club, Yacht Club, and Boardwalk as on the Skyliner, but it kind of is.
But it kind of is because it's right there. Right. It's pretty easy walk to get to the international
especially
gateway.
Beach Club. Because you're like right there. I mean, we just walked over the
Yacht
bridge.
Club's a little farther away.
Yeah, and Boardwalk is definitely even further.
Away, but it's reachable. It's not that big of a deal.
So it becomes, now, I guess the difference maybe is because it goes to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. You're already at Epcot by the time you get to it. And Hollywood Studios you could have gotten by walking in the other direction. So maybe that's why they
But if you want to go for the ride,
it's,
it's something different. So.
And there were a lot of people just going for rides.
Yeah. Just checking it out.
Checking it out, seeing how it worked.
Well, I mean, in the United States, that's a relatively unique thing.
Yeah, I don't think we have it.
We don't have that I'm aware of anywhere in the United States. Apparently in Europe and stuff, it's pretty common that they have that. We have it as ski lifts, in the Northeast. But
but this is closed.
Yeah, well, we have trams. You've got, like, if you go up the top of Cannon and stuff like that, we've got those. But there's different, it's just different. So I was joking with you guys when you first started talking about it, how it's just transportation. It's, it's not anything more than that. But from what you were saying, it's actually a nice respite from the noise and everything else. And can you stay on, or do you have to get off at each station and then get back around to?
So you have to get off at, excuse me. I'm trying to remember now. I think it's Caribbean Beach. Yes. So at Caribbean Beach, you have to get off. You have to either go to the resort or you get on the Hollywood Studios line from there. If you're leaving Epcot and going to the Riviera, it's a straight shot. There's no getting off because it goes Epcot, Riviera, Caribbean Beach. And that's where you have to change. And then you can take, if you continue on, that brings you to Pop Century and Art of Animation further down the line, which we did a couple times too, just to go for the experience.
Yeah, so that's the other thing with it. It's actually a nice way to get between hotels.
Yeah, for those hotels.
If you happen to be jumping between them, or you want to jump, or if you're at Pop Century or something and you want to go over to, to the backside of Epcot, essentially, you can get there. So that's kind of nice.
Well, and I do believe. Now, I signed an NDA, so this is not part of what they told us at Summit, because I couldn't tell you if it was. But I do believe we're going to see an expansion of the Skyliner relatively quick.
Yeah.
It is working the way they intended to move people quickly without traffic, and on a very predictable, regular schedule. Because you figure a lot of the frustration from Walt Disney World comes from the bus system, and it is the third largest bus system in the world. Yeah. Stop and think about that.
Right. So what is it, basically New York City? It's probably not even New York because we don't have great.
Well, they have buses in New York.
They do, but is theirs considered?
I don't know who the other two are, but they're the third biggest bus system in the world. So first you're going to put it in perspective and see how many people they're truly moving and through how many different destinations when you realize it. But the Skyliner, there's no traffic. It's extremely predictable. It's not like you're waiting 20 minutes or so for a bus. No, they're constant.
There's a car every 10 seconds or whatever it is.
And it's just a matter of, and you can move 100 people in no time at all. You get 10 of those guys coming through, and it's 100 people that you've just moved. Yeah. So Gina and Kyle they're going to be there through Christmas. So I'm interested to see how that works for them. And they're going to do some testing just to see how that works at, the busiest week of the year.
Yeah. So, so you did some busing as well, right? I mean, I know
A
you did
little
a bunch of Uber and
We did a
minivan and stuff,
ton of Uber.
but when you did the busing, did you notice the busing situation being relieved a little bit because of the Skyliner? Or I mean, it was super busy on this trip.
It was
Like,
really busy. It was busier than it.
significantly than more so than normal at this time of year.
Yeah.
Probably because of Rise of the Resistance, but
Oh yeah, there's no doubt that Rise opening has brought a lot of people in earlier.
yeah.
So that made a big difference for sure. The busing that we did, Wilderness Lodge to Animal Kingdom, Riviera to Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, Riviera
to Kingdom.
Riviera to Magic Kingdom and back. It definitely was not affected.
Yeah. Okay.
There were still buses running from like Riviera to Hollywood Studios. There were still buses there, and I don't know what that ended up being because we never did that.
What I mean by being affected is, was it less?
No.
Was it less crowded or
not for those runs because there's no other way to get there.
Yeah.
So, but we did a lot of Uber.
That's true. So with the ones where there is a Skyliner, have they done away with the buses?
They have not yet.
Okay.
I think at some point they might, but they didn't yet. I did talk to a lot of people while I was down there that were really hesitant about the Skyliner, and that they were, had height issues, like they were, feeling uncomfortable, but that got on it and said, "Oh my gosh, it was so much better than I thought it would be."
Because it's not like they have a glass bottom, right? They don't have a glass floor to them, and you're like staring at the ground underneath you. Like if you put your head down and don't look out the window, you probably can't even tell that you're off the ground. I mean, does it move around a lot?
Not a lot. It was really windy on my last day when Jen and I were going over the Caribbean beach. But there's a little bit of a sway to it, but it wasn't. It doesn't feel open like a ski lift. It doesn't feel like even like California on Mickey's Fun Wheel. Yeah. How it's like open and that kind of thing. It doesn't feel like that.
Well, because they've got all the cars are wrapped.
Yes.
Too, so it gives you a little bit of darkness, a little bit to it.
There's some
darkens things a little bit.
Yeah, there's quite a few that aren't wrapped, but more of them are. But people were trying to get the unwrapped ones because you can get better pictures without the wrap.
So people like waiting in line for the next one that comes through.
Yeah, at least at one spot there was a woman that was waiting, and she was waiting for the next unwrapped vehicle. But yeah. So I loved it. And, Riviera, one of the things that we remarked on was their quick service. So again, it was, I forgot the name.
Whatever.
Patio something.
Patio Connor or something.
Not Patio Connor. Anyway.
Patio Riley.
It's a quick service location.
Yep.
But you get real silverware, cloth napkins, and the best cheeseburger Disney World has ever made.
Which I find so strange.
I know.
Because it's just a cheeseburger.
It is, but it was like
there's something that they're doing
different. It wasn't
different.
a theme park cheeseburger.
Yeah.
It really felt like, and I know this is crazy, but I noticed this difference at home too. When you make a burger just out of ground hamburger meat, and you just make the patty yourself, it tastes different than the pressed burgers.
Yeah, the machine-made ones.
Yeah. And it was like a handcrafted burger. A lot of the other things on the menu, though.
Yeah, no.
So I had kids' chicken tenders a couple times. But honestly, there were 3 big chicken strips.
And that's fine.
And
if
it was
that's
fine.
all you want, then.
But that was really good. And they bring the food out to you, much like
Contemporaries doing that now, right?
Yeah, the Contemporaries doing that. There was somebody else. Oh, Wilderness Lodge. Where they give you a little buzzer and they come and just drop the food. So it was really good. We did breakfast and lunch there a couple different times, and it was really good.
Did they have French toast?
No.
How does a French restaurant not have French toast?
Because French toast is not really French.
Doesn't matter. You should have it just in name alone.
Okay. They have brand new Coke Freestyle machines, 3 of them, so there was never a wait.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
It was good. But anyway.
Did they have French Coke?
No. It's like they had a lot of stuff in there. I got really overwhelmed by all the choices.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it is absolutely my second favorite now after Wilderness Lodge And it's close. Not that I'm letting it replace Wilderness Lodge. But the location and that Skyliner.
So that's something we actually haven't talked about. I actually have no idea where it is. Like if you said it's in Disney World, like, great, but where actually is it?
It's literally in the middle of nowhere. It's right next to Caribbean Beach.
But is it in the middle of Walt Disney World? Like if you were to draw a thing, like
I don't know about that. It's literally next door to Caribbean Beach. Because if you're staying at certain islands in Caribbean Beach, you're like closer to Riviera than the front of your own hotel.
Yeah.
There's a water.
Because Caribbean Beach is so big.
Yeah. There's a body of like a river-ish looking thing between the two. But, I didn't get to go swimming because it was chilly and I was in meetings during the day. And at night it was way too cold for swimming. But the pools looked really nice. Yeah. They had a little kid splash pad that was really adorable. So it was really nice. And honestly, I love the Wilderness Lodge because it's rustic and I love rustic things and that kind of thing. But I'm telling you, the Riviera is like, and granted, we were in a 1-bedroom villa. Which is your cute. I mean, it's almost as big as our house for square footage wise.
Right. And that's one of their more expensive rooms.
Oh, well, the 2-bedroom or the 3-bedroom grand villa were more.
Sure. But, I mean, that's your next level up from your entry-level room.
Yeah.
Right.
They also have there a new room category, which I thought was interesting, and it is a tower studio. So if you're looking at the resort, you can see kind of in the corners that there are, like, strange looking, not to be judgmental or anything, but windows that look different than the other windows. And that's because those are the tower studios that they made room for. No way. Not going to stay there.
Why is that?
They're tiny. So all they have is the bed that comes out of the wall.
Mm-hmm. So the Murphy bed.
Bed, which then takes away the couch.
Yeah.
A TV and a bathroom. It is as small as a cruise ship stateroom.
Yeah, but why do you need more than that?
It's tiny. And Leah also said that the pull-down bed wasn't very comfortable. No. Now, we also said that could be because we were the first people to ever sleep in them. So as they kind of
they're not broken in yet.
Right.
Like, it's a brand new mattress.
Right. Speaking of breaking. Yeah, the first night at the hotel, our room was fine, but the first night of the hotel being opened, the pull-down bed that comes out of the wall, which is a different unit than the Murphy bed, came, a woman was sleeping in it, it came off the wall, and when it did that, it pulled the TV down on top of the woman who is now sandwiched inside this bed, and the TV fell on top too. She's fine. She had in a couple of bumps, but they discovered that the bed, at least in that room, hadn't been secured properly to the wall.
Yeah.
I mean,
oops.
So they sent notes to all the rooms that said, do not touch this bed, do not sleep in this bed. Yeah. And then they brought an air mattress and made the air mattresses up.
So that's an interesting thing, right? If you think about it, because how many rooms are in this hotel?
A lot.
Like 300-400 probably.
I think they said it was like 450 rooms total.
Where do you get 450 air mattresses at a moment's notice?
Right.
Like, do they just have that in a warehouse somewhere just in case? Like, hey, I mean, they must, right? Because you can get an air mattress for your room.
No.
Oh, you can't?
You can't.
Oh, so they had to get that from somewhere, like, or they have it as an emergency backup.
Right. They may have an emergency plan that has that. And not every room would have had that bed type.
Okay.
But most of them did.
Yeah.
We had the big discussion at the summit over that.
I mean, think about it, even if it's 300, right? I mean, that's, where do you get 300? It's not like you can go to Walmart and get 300, inflatable beds.
Within hours.
Right.
Because that happened overnight, the very first night. And then when we came back to the room at like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, it was already there set up with pillows and blankets. And Jen said it was just as comfortable, if not more so, than the actual bed.
I mean, it's nice. So they didn't cheap out and get like the really cheap ones.
No, they didn't. In fact, they have the ones that like a real thick
Yeah.
Like we had one like that real thick one.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And it was, I took pictures. I'll share it on our Facebook page.
Looks like a bed.
It looks like a bed. Like if you didn't notice the bed closed at the wall right behind it, you'd think it was the bed. So, and she said it was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Some people reported that their beds, the real beds, were fixed immediately.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do ours, but I think that's because they knew we were leaving.
Yeah.
So there were some
just
people.
Did it when you left. And
yeah, they probably just waited till we were out of there because we were only there for a total of 3 nights.
Right. It was only like one night left, 2 nights. No, because you said that
2
happened
nights.
on the first night.
Yeah.
Right?
So it was 2 nights left. So.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Things
Riviera, I loved it. I
Yeah.
want to go back.
It's very cool that you were there, like when it opened, though. Like
Yeah.
you can always say that, like I was there opening day in the the big hotel. So
yeah,
it's very interesting to me that Disney's going in that direction now, with instead of these large sprawling resort areas that they've been making in the past, like Coronado and stuff like that. That now they're actually going to a skyrise model, and they're going that route.
What it is they're building more deluxe hotels, and so the moderates they haven't added a moderate in a really long time.
Yeah.
So the deluxe hotels have always been in a main building like setup.
Right, but if you look at Wilderness Lodge and those, they're not sky rises. The only one that's actually a skyrise is Contemporary. Right?
Yeah, but
the other 3 weren't.
I don't think I'd call this a skyrise. It had 10 floors.
Oh, okay. So the other tower that we were in is bigger.
Grandestino is taller.
Grandestino's much bigger. Okay.
Yes. So the restaurant, Topolino's, is on the 10th floor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you can go and sit and see the Epcot fireworks and the Hollywood Studios fireworks if you time it right.
Yeah, that's cool.
And they have Topolino's, and then they have a bar that's out there as well.
So they did the same thing as the Grandestino.
Yeah.
They set it up the same way.
Yeah,
Yep.
but you're closer, so you can see those things.
Did you eat at Topolino's?
I had water at Topolino's.
Was there just no food to eat?
It was weird. But I'll tell you.
What was weird about it, though? Like, what did they have?
I don't remember exactly, but Leah and Jen, none of us could find food on there that we wanted.
Really?
Yeah. Now, the Greenways may come back. I don't know if they'll have a chance to go over there.
Right.
But if they did, it's their kind of food. But Leah and Jen and I didn't realize how similar we were in our eating styles until we were on this trip. Jen is there's Leah, then there's Jen, and there's me.
Yeah.
Jen is almost as picky as I am. Leah's a little more adventurous, and that means she'll try something, but she probably won't like it.
But she'll try it. So they just look at it and go, I ain't eating that.
Yeah, exactly. She was more of the mindset, I think, that she's willing to try stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we looked at the appetizer menu, and we looked at the food menu, and nothing.
Wow.
We didn't like any of it. So we had, Leah had a non-alcoholic drink, and I had a water, and Jen had a water. So
it's kind of like when we went to
California Grill.
The California Grill.
I had a Sprite there.
You had a Sprite, and I had a sushi just because I was like, I have to get something. But even the sushi there was a little weird.
Yeah.
But had we sat down, I'd have had steak because they had steak.
Yeah.
But
so
it's interesting that Disney seems to be adding more of those types of restaurants, because historically Disney's always been family-friendly food for the most part, right? They've had these family-friendly options. Everything's kind of, the spicy stuff is kind of dulled down a little bit. Nothing's ever too one way or the other. And now they're really starting to add these, I don't know if you call them adventurous type things, but it seems like it really actually started with the one at the Magic Kingdom.
You're thinking Skipper Canteen?
Skipper Canteen.
No, it realistically happened about 15 years ago.
Really?
They decided at some point there to become a foodie destination too.
Mm.
And that's where you see tons of the different kinds of restaurants popping up. And then you also see a real emphasis on that at Disney Springs. There's that, like, they've built that whole thing to be a foodie and wine paradise.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I expect that at Disney Springs though, because that's just a separate destination, and that's for people who just live in Florida that want to go eat somewhere special, right? You've got those options.
That's part of it.
To go inside Disney, although I mean these places aren't technically in Disney; they're in the hotels. I mean they are, but you know what I mean.
Don't get
they're
confused,
not.
people.
They're not in the parks. Is what I meant by that.
Theme park
They're
restaurants.
not theme park restaurants. They're in the hotels.
But what they have,
we've talked for years about how the best restaurants are actually in the hotels.
Yeah.
So I guess it does make sense.
and they absolutely are making a concerted effort now to not have just standard theme park food in the theme parks.
Yeah.
Like the quick services, like you
Well,
can still get
a theme park, like where?
Well, Skipper Canteen.
Yeah.
Tiffin's over at Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
That's far from theme park food. That's like Kristy won't eat there ever again. And Epcot, obviously, all around World Showcase. That is, not your typical theme park food.
No, I still count that as theme park food.
No way. Tutto Italia? We couldn't even get chicken parm over there because they only had fancy Italian stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that one.
And then Hollywood Studios, Hollywood Brown Derby.
Where you get your grilled cheese.
That tapas place. That tap house. I forget the name of it, but it's something tap house over next to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
That had stuff. I looked at that menu and went, there's nothing here for me to eat there. I got up and left.
It's just like beer and pretzels, isn't it?
No, they have small plates, like little appetizers.
Okay.
They have that charcuterie board.
Cheese board.
Yeah, kind of thing. Like they've got that stuff.
Yeah.
So they really have been like kicking up that stuff.
Okay.
Skipper Canteen is only one,
Yeah. Skipper Canteen's the one that stands out for me the most because it's so far from what I ever expected it to be.
Yeah.
That I'm still thrown by it.
Yeah.
Like, because I expected that to be like cool stories from the Skippers, and then burgers and that sort of thing. Yeah. And instead, it's completely off from that, and it's always thrown me. Yeah. And we've been a couple times. It's been fine.
Yeah, you and Allie actually really liked it last time. It. The Greenways were there yesterday.
Yeah, it's just.
Whereas I was there for I keep saying 14.
11.
10 nights, 11 days.
Yeah.
And I ate at Liberty Tree Tavern twice. Mm-hmm. Trails End twice. Which, by the way, I won't be going back to Trails End.
Yeah.
You know why? It used to be a hidden gem.
Yeah, and now it's not.
And now it's not.
The internet ruins everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
and podcasts and everything else like us talking about it.
$39 a person for Trails End.
They jack up the prices?
Yes.
Wow.
When the first time, we'd already had a reservation to do it with Gina and her family, and then the Jen and Leah. But I went with my dad because my dad loves Trails End. Mm-hmm. $39 plus tax.
I mean, all you can eat buffet.
No, but it used to be less because there's no characters. It's like, right? Mm-hmm. It was ridiculous. So I'm done. The food is still good, but not. If I'm paying $39, I'm going doing something else. Yeah. Now, character dining is more expensive than even that, but it's just not. I was shocked at the price. So anyway, we did that twice. So,
Yeah.
I have my favorites.
I don't really feel the need to find myself over at the trailer park, so that's fine.
Oh my God! Wait till they come back, and I can tell you all about it. So much fun. I told my friend Stephanie today, who didn't go, but I was telling her that it was probably my favorite part of the entire trip, other than Riviera.
All right.
But trailer park was so much fun.
All right. Well, because you guys got your things and you could scoot around and everything was great. Yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. All right. Why don't we bring this one to a close? Is there anything else that we didn't talk about? Anything I forgot about? I may have booked a bounce back to the Riviera. Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. No surprise there. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Take care. Toodaloo. Bye, everybody. Oh, wait. Safe travels, everyone. Oh, safe travels. Safe travels. Bye, everybody. Bye. We all know vacation planning is stressful and time-consuming. Let the expert vacation planners at Mickey Guru Travel Company handle the details and find you the best deal possible, all at no extra cost to you. Whether your vacation dreams are made of roller coasters and princesses or sailing on the open seas,
They will help create a magical experience you'll remember forever. To learn more about Mickey Guru and how they can help you save time and money, visit them at mickeyguru.com.